Hey everybody, and welcome to DnD Horror Stories with DnD Doge. In today's video, we have a story about a player that throws a temper tantrum when he discovers one of the player characters is gay. A story about a player that joins a Dungeons & Dragons group that doesn't seem to get the concept of roleplay, and much more. But first, let's do some meditation with Simba to help protect ourselves against the psychic damage that these stories are sure to induce. Ah, there we go. Now I think we are ready for some DnD horror stories. Homophobic Murder Hobo tried to kick me out of the party. By Reddit user, The Portal Destroyer. So I made a post 2 years ago that I created a gay bard on our D&D. Well, after a year rolled around, I finally found the perfect place to use him. But as you can tell by the title, he was not well received. Our party consisted of 4 other people: the Dungeon Master, Elven Druid, a Gnome Wizard, and the Problem Player, a Warforged Barbarian. We played in a classic style Dungeons & Dragons campaign, delving into dungeons and attacking whatever attacked us, except for Barbarian. The first red flag that basically described the entire incident was him saying in Session 0, "I designed him to be a killing machine." And because of how naive we all were, with everyone but the Dungeon Master and Barbarian being quite new, the game started. The first 10 minutes, and he started a bar fight that our characters were forced into. After escaping with our lives, Barbarian acts normal for a bit. Yes, he did plow through a dungeon like a lawnmower with grass, but he didn't commit any war crimes or burn orphanages. And then it happened. We had just received a quest that involved killing each of the 7 deadly sins. And when we had reached the 4th one, lust, the Dungeon Master decided to pass the spotlight to my gay bard by summoning, quote, beautiful women to distract the rest of the party. I obviously proclaim that my character is gay, and nothing happens, except a few distasteful and rude comments towards my character, until after the session when we had beaten Sloth. Barbarian texted me saying, "Bro, your character can't be gay. That's weird." I reply by saying, "Why not?" He then spat, "Well, everyone in the party is a man, so it's disgusting." I pipe back saying, I never showed my bard, thinking that any of the party members were his type. He then claims, "Being gay is rude and disgusting when you aren't gay in real life." It's mostly back and forth like that for a few minutes, before he shuts up and stops arguing with me. The day before the following session, both Druid and Wizard texted me something along the lines of, "Why is Barbarian angry at you?" To which I explained what happened, show a few screenshots, etc. Session 3 starts, and Barbarian immediately starts showing hatred towards my bard, which ends up lasting an hour or 2, of his being an ass to the rest of the party for also siding with me. And in great edgelord murder hobo fashion, while we're at camp and everyone is asleep, he tries to kill a party member, aka Bard, aka me. Thank God for the 2 times he rolled that he didn't get above a 7. And before he could roll again, Wizard had Fireball ready, and Druid was prepared to blow a dart into his face. He then screams out of character that a sleeping player character shouldn't have AC over 5, as he rolled a 5 and 7 by the way. Mine was 10. Why? Because the Dungeon Master had played with this guy before in a party, and he probably realized that this guy would go murder hobo on the party and try to kill me. So this was the best he could do to slightly hinder that, thankfully. It doesn't make much sense, but I'm not complaining. Anyway, back to the story. Murder Hobo gets restrained and starts arguing with Wizard and Dungeon Master out of character, and the session ended quickly after. And here comes the best part of this story. Buckle up. From what I've gathered from Wizard, Druid, and Dungeon Master, Barbarian tries to get Dungeon Master on his side to kick me because, quote, He's weird. Afterwards, Dungeon Master rejects this due to zero actual reasoning and him being an ass to me. He then tries to get Wizard and Druid on his side. Then, when Druid says that he's bisexual IRL, Barbarian went on a tantrum/rampage, screaming homophobic insults and racist comments, as Druid was caramel. So not only was this guy acting homophobic, but racist too. Wizard then gives him a good, quote, talking to, as in Wizard lists the amount of problems that the Barbarian has caused, looks to the Dungeon Master to give him the boot, and Dungeon Master agrees. We all blocked him as soon as we could, and thankfully had a great rest of the campaign, in which the Dungeon Master let us salvage an NPC version of the Barbarian's body as armor, which the Wizard kept most of. My Bard and Druid got some pretty neat stuff from it too. TLDR: homophobic and racist murder hobo is angry that my Bard is gay, tries to kill him, fails, goes to insult a poor player that disagrees, and gets the boot. Yeah, I'd say all of Barbarian's reasons for OP not to play a gay character didn't really hold any water, and like OP told him, it's not like he was coming on to any of the party members. Then, of course, the following session, Barbarian treats OP's Bard like crap, to the point of trying to off him during a long rest. But then, Barbarian's player showed his true colors when one of the players stated that they were bi in real life, and that set him off on not only a homophobic, but racist tirade. It's no wonder that he was given the boot after that, and at least it sounds like the group were able to continue enjoying the game without him. Let's move on. How a New Player Ruined My Campaign and Became My Fiance, by Reddit user Aura Salvatris. So I met this girl at Pride, and we had spent the day together. I don't like being alone in crowds because of a medical condition I have, so I figured I'd tag along with her, and she was pretty cool, so I invited her to hang out with me and my friends playing D&D. So we get to her first session with the group about 2 weeks later, and she shows up in a very revealing outfit that includes a fairly translucent top. I should mention that I was 14 and the rest of the group ranged from 13 to 19, and she was 16. Also, this took place in England. The Dungeon Master won't stop staring at her tits as the game goes on, and the rest of the party and character is extra friendly to New Girl's character, a half-elf cleric who worshipped the god of redemption and could only speak when spoken to. Her character was actually super cool, and she played it well as a sacrifice she chose to make and not magically forced upon her. There were times when she broke her silence and would be highly self-critical and attempt to right the wrong that she had done, all because her character had been a corrupt noble's daughter who used lies and deceit to get rid of her family's enemies, so her silence was her way of atoning for her sins. But every session devolved slowly into the DM rewarding her and making sure she couldn't fail, to the point that everyone else felt useless. Eventually, she tells the DM during a session that it's ruining the game after she rolled a nat 1 on a charisma save, and still managed to succeed and save against the BBEG using Dominate Person to remove her from the fight as the healer. DM argued about it, saying that he didn't want to punish a new player too harshly, and she reminded him that it had been 4 months at this point. Other players brought forth their grievances of their characters being sidelined for her, and how we all thought that he was just trying to weirdly flirt with her. Then the Dungeon Master admits to being attracted to her, and that he may have gone and favored her a little. To which her response was, "I'm gay. Honestly, I only joined this campaign because I had a crush on OP, but it was so fun that I stayed." We all took a hiatus, and she called me asking if I still wanted to be friends, and that she didn't want her crush on me to end our friendship. I told her that we were good, and that I didn't quite know how I felt about her. Well, fast forward 5 years later, and we're now engaged. Well, this is a rare occurrence, where a Dungeon Master is playing favorites, and some good comes out of it. I mean, it was pretty obvious when the DM said that the girl still passed Dominate Person with a Nat 1. So, congrats OP. But I wonder if that game continued. On to the next one. Group doesn't understand concept of creativity in roleplay. Dungeon Master kicks me out for derailing his game. By Reddit user Illuminato. Dear RPG enthusiast, I'm gonna present you one of the most bizarre games I've ever played in. It happened a few months ago when the COVID-19 crisis was just beginning. I saw a post on Looking for Game recruiting for one player for a roleplay heavy and character driven game. Supposedly, they were missing one player for whichever reason. I filled in the enclosed form, and a few hours after, I got messaged by the Dungeon Master that I was chosen. I was sent an invite to a Discord server with a pretty generic name, Online DnD. I almost left, cause I hate it when someone writes D&D, but I was foolish enough to stay. The Dungeon Master seemed like a chill and experienced guy, and the other two players as well. We talked for a while, and they informed me that they allow only official content, and that I have to be polite. When I asked for what happened to the third player, they told me that he ghosted them. Cool, no red flags so far. Then I wanted to create my character. Sure. We have a wizard and barbarian, so you have to play half caster to keep stuff balanced, the DM wrote me. I was a bit shocked, but I wanted to play paladin anyway, so I pretty much ignored this red flag. I built a pretty generic female dwarf paladin with Oath of Vengeance. Hill dwarf though. I didn't want to seem min-maxy with a mountain dwarf. Besides, extra hit points is always useful. Then I started writing backstory. She was the daughter of a dwarven king, and she was bored of noble life, so she ran away to become a knight. While running away from the capital, she met some other dwarves, and they decided to stay together and train together in the future. However, they got ambushed, and everyone except her got killed. She survived by getting hit by a club and playing dead, so she sworn that she'd avenge her companions, justifying a vengeance subclass. As I said, pretty generic. The Dungeon Master liked it, and said, "Nothing crazy, that's good." I was actually excited because I was expecting that DM will tie my character into the world by an eventual confrontation with my pursuers, as the Dwarven King really wants his daughter back, or some act of meaningless violence towards random bandits from my side, leading to weakening my powers, redemption arc, etc., etc. I know, I sound like I want all of the spotlight, but it was supposed to be character driven, and I'm willing to wait for my turn to shine. So, a few days later, Session 4 starts, as they played 3 sessions with the guy who left. I was waiting for some introduction of my character, but all I got was, "Welcome our new paladin, Lady Marina." The other 2 responded by, "Welcome Marina," and that was it. No roleplay, nothing. I just appeared there. Then, Dungeon Master continued, "You all are in a tavern. During the last session, you killed the goblins. Now, a lady in white approaches you. She is beautiful, like an angel. She asks you to help her find her child. Wizard stays quiet, and Barbarian responds, 'My character expresses that he doesn't want to look for her child. He's rude.' DM, she cries and begs you. Wizard, Brutus, Barbarian's name, was rude to her. I want him to accept the quest. Barbarian, Brutus is ashamed, and he agrees with Gandalf. Take a wild guess who was Gandalf. Before accepting the quest, he asks Marina about her opinion." I was honestly shocked. No roleplay, nothing. Just those empty sentences. So it took me a few moments to respond. Me, Brutus, don't you see that this woman is desperate? She's lost her child. How can you be so cold and insult her, even before thinking about the possible amount of money we can earn if she's rich? I added the last part quieter. Yes, I was chaotic good. DM. Man, what was that? Me. Roleplay? DM. No, we don't do it like this. I tell you when to roleplay. Just wait. Looking at it now, retrospectively, I should have left right then. But my brain said, there will be roleplay. Stay. So I stayed. DM. You accept the quest. She tells you where to look for the child. You go there. It's a forest. She says she's scared to enter it. Do you enter it? Wizard and Barbarian simultaneously say, yes. Me. Wait guys, not so fast. I ask the woman why she is afraid. It could be a trap. I decided to play along, at least for a while. DM. You can't do that. I haven't thought of this. He seriously didn't have a clue how to improvise. Even something like, she doesn't respond, would be better than this. Me. Ma'am, I sincerely apologize, but I can't enter the forest yet. My codex does not allow me to act recklessly. What if you are a hag trying to deceive us? At this point, I was just desperately trying. Who knows, maybe this was just some stupid joke, or they will try to play along. DM. She becomes furious and shouts that it's not a trap. You have to enter the forest, or she'll kill you. Me. I kneel down before the woman. Ma'am, I'm a holy knight, member of an ancient paladin order, protector of the innocent, and bane of the evildoers. Who are you so powerful that you could defeat me, yet so weak that you cannot enter this forest? After I finish, the dungeon master goes berserk. Spare us this stupid babbling. We are playing a game, not living a fairy tale. How old are you, 10? Holy Knight, protector of the innocent? You're a paladin, not a holy knight. Those other two lost individuals join him. They basically repeat his words, and Wizard says that he cast burning hands on me, and the dungeon master rules that I'm dead. DM then says, and get lost, derailer. Then voice chat went silent. It was actually funny, being kicked out for roleplaying. I wonder if the guy before me tried to roleplay as well, and if so, how did he last 3 whole sessions? TLDR, I'm chosen for a roleplay heavy, character-driven game. Dungeon Master says I have to play a half-caster. I create a Dwarven Paladin, and during the session, I can't roleplay her. We have to find some missing child in the forest. His mother is afraid to enter it, and after I question her motives and why she can't enter, the Dungeon Master goes furious and kicks me out for derailing and living a fairy tale. Well, that is just stupid. Kicking a player out for role-playing in a role-playing game? Especially when OP said that it was advertised as roleplay heavy. Now, I can understand, not everyone can easily get into character and play as if they are their character, but to kick someone for trying to do so is just baffling. Though, in OP's case, I would say getting kicked from that game was a blessing in disguise. Hopefully, OP was eventually able to find a decent game to play in. On to the next one. Mass Attack Madness by Reddit user Levixveria. I've been a player in our DM's campaign since it started. It's all been homebrew stories, but that's not the problem here, as his stories have been wonderful. The problem has been here since he's been a DM. That problem being, he doesn't look at enemies' challenge ratings and throws a dozen things at us, and then complains to us that we couldn't fight them and that he always needs a DMPC to come save the effing day. The most recent example. Our party returned to their homestead after an outing and hearing there was trouble. After a short bit, we get attacked by crypt hounds, homebrew creatures that can appear in an illusionary way as deceased people that their opponents know. They have average HP and deal 2d6 piercing damage, and then another attack that deals 3d4 necrotic. The problem begins here. He sends 12 of these creatures and a massive apparition-type creature to lead them. Not only that, their ability to create the illusion of appearing as deceased loved ones recharges basically instantly. It's almost like an effing cantrip even. I go down instantly. I'm just the bard, 29 max HP. Now, that's not bad, unless about 5 creatures that do 2d6 damage attack you at once. Now, it's nice he sends the DMPC over to assist, but not every single session. The last session, it was 13 bandits with crossbows. This time, 12 crypt hounds and a massive ghost. In the past, he's also sent 4 ice drakes at a small level 2 party, and has a nasty habit of making almost everything inflict paralysis. He even sent 3 cactids at a level 1 party, and had the audacity to complain to me that I died to it because I got close. How the F am I supposed to know that a damned cactus does 6d6 damage once it dies? I got instantly killed in that one attack alone, and he got annoyed at me for, quote, needing to save us, and pretty much mocks me for it. He's even the type of dungeon master to send a strong enemy at you when we annoy him. I said something that annoyed him once, and he sent an effing flaming rock at us for it. It's been like this since he started about 2 years ago. He keeps claiming that he's changed and learned, but he really hasn't, and it's tiring me out from one of the only hobbies I have. We've asked him to change his attack plans, and actually use the challenge rating, and not send dozens at us. How do we tell him at this point that most of us have been growing weary of this? We've tried saying it before, but it still persists. He still complains about, quote, needing a DMPC to save our asses. Damn, that sounds like it could get tiresome. But I have to ask, how the heck did OP and the rest of the players put up with this dungeon master for 2 years? At that point, it just sounds like OP is getting more frustration from playing Dungeons & Dragons than enjoyment. At that point, OP and the other players should tell the Dungeon Master flatly that he needs to start balancing the fight encounters better, or that you just don't want to play anymore, at least with him being Dungeon Master. No D&D is better than bad D&D, and it sounds like OP and the rest of the players have been putting up with bad D&D for way too long. But that is all I have for you today. As always, I appreciate all of you, especially the ones who leave a like, and may your games remain horror story free. Until next time.